We got a lot to talk about this week.
We have a lot to talk about.
Mostly characters going away, characters coming in, unexpected departures, unexpected arrivals.
I guess you
gonks.
I guess you could say episode 16 certainly landed, didn't it?
Or actually, there are now 2 clone troopers falling infinitely in the Bad Batch world. Welcome to Rebels and Robots, episode 12. It's Wednesday night. I messed up the start. I did it wrong. Okay, hold on. Let's try this again. I didn't have it in front of me, and that was the problem.
Start the banter again.
I gotta bring up. Okay, it's Wednesday night, which means it's Starformers night. Welcome to Rebels and Robots, episode 12, with Cameron and
Rachel.
This is our weekly chat about Star Wars and
Transformers.
very nice. We're pretty eager, I think, to talk about today's episodes of Bad Batch and The Mandalorian. But first, as always, we've got any notes about last week's episode, any recent news, and any recent thoughts. You got anything?
Yeah, so I've been seeing some articles floating around. I actually meant to say this last week, but I didn't. That John Boyega has been doing some interviews lately, stating that now he's comfortable with the end of Finn's Star Wars journey.
Really?
Yeah.
That's quite surprising to me.
Yeah. So let me see. So here's what he said in an interview with the Times. He said, so in terms of Finn, I don't know. I feel like the arc that JJ tried to tie up, that's where I feel comfortable with the release of him. And since then, I've been able to enjoy, as a fan, The Mandalorian and Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm enjoying the balance of all things. I mean, not like, because I know he's been openly sharing with the criticisms other people have had of the films, but it's interesting to see this response. Of course, everyone always wants to know, is Finn going to come back?
Sure.
Will John Boyega come back? I guess specifically for Finn. I mean, I'd love to see him come back. I'd love to see Finn get fleshed out, but I also understand that John Boyega might never want to touch it again.
Yeah, I imagine in probably about 10 years, the target audience for Star Wars will be the people who grew up with new Star Wars. I mean, let's do the math. Force Awakens came out in 2015. 10 years from now will be 2033.
Oh, stop that.
And that's 18 years. So that's more than enough time for someone who, if you were 5 years old when episode 7 came out, you'll be 23. And so that's the prime. So that's definitely target range, I think. So approximately 10 years or so, and not very long at all. And there was 10 years between episode 3 and episode 7.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably they'll come around and they'll probably pay whatever John Boyega asks to be paid, and he'll get a chance to redeem the character. I'm trying to think. I feel like there's someone in the back of my mind that had a similar chance to play a character again and get to redeem that character that may have been like kind of ruined. Maybe like Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield. I think that's kind of what I'm going with, is both those actors kind of left with bad taste in everyone's mouth, and they got to come back and be in a lot of people's favorite Spider-Man movie. So that's just an example off the top of my head.
Just enough time for people to go, oh, we never treated people bad. Like I saw people going last week about Ahmed Best. Because lots of people were, obviously praising his return. I'm thrilled to see him back, but the occasional comment, well, he didn't get treated badly. And it's like, what?
Yeah, a lot of revisionist history in the fan base. Everyone will act like they always loved.
We always loved the prequels.
Everyone's going to act like they always love the sequels. Everyone's going to act like they always loved Boyega and Daisy Ridley. And
saw an interesting conversation that apparently, I think Return of the Jedi got some similar when it came out. People were like, "This ruined Star Wars."
Two movies ahead of it,
and it's ruined.
This is not like comic books. Comic books where the lightsabers are pink and everyone's body proportions are way over the top.
Yeah.
Anyways, any other news?
Yeah, Andor season 2 has started filming.
Wow, this late. Wow, I would have expected them to have started filming a while back.
I think it's in Venice. They're somewhere over there.
Man, it's gonna be a while. Do we not get it until 2024?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I mean, if they're shooting now, I really doubt we're gonna get it by the end of the year.
I don't think it's on like the timeline release yet, which is devastating.
Yeah, but I guess I'd rather them take their time. But
I got some other news.
Yeah, go for it.
So Emery, who we'll be talking about later in Bad Batch, the female scientist that has been working with Dr. Hemlock in Bad Batch season 2, is voiced by Keisha Castle Hughes, who plays Queen Apollonia in Star Wars.
Oh, very brief appearance as the Queen of Naboo at the end of episode 3.
Yes, very brief, but interesting. That's fun.
Oh. Is she the whale rider? Really famous film. It's not super relevant, but Whale Rider was a really famous international film. Yeah. What was her name?
Keisha Castle Hughes.
Yeah, that's her. Oh, and she also played Mary in the Nativity Story film from the mid-2000s with Oscar Isaac.
What a combo.
It all comes together.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
But I think Whale Rider is a Maori film. Yeah, it's from New Zealand.
Oh, cool.
So she is probably almost certainly Maori, which is we should have seen.
We should have seen it coming. That makes a lot of sense though. So I've been trying to find I kind of forgot about the screenshot after we talked about it last Wednesday. So one thing I was trying to find is the Jedi Survivor trailer, and one of the Instagram ads in the background is one of those slug creatures like we see in Rise of Skywalker, the infamous Claude.
I love Claude.
So there was the Reddit thread was going ham for him. Live Claude reaction.
Do you have a screenshot?
I don't.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to see if I can find it at the end. But another thing was, so I have a PS2 that I still play, and I was playing Sly Cooper 3. Is that Honor Among Thieves, or is that the second one? Anyway, it was the third one. There's a reference to Star Wars with the Yoda training Luke image in the game. Mm-hmm. That's it. I was just playing it out of the blue, and I was like, well, hold on. Podcast material. But it was just kind of fun because this game from the early 2000s, I was like, of course. Mm-hmm. A very, very obvious Star Wars reference.
That's fun. That's very fun.
The other thing I didn't look at this, but the other day, whoever was running the Star Wars Instagram page released some photos for some screenshots from Bad Batch, captioned it as, here's some, I don't know, they're like promoting season 14 or episode 14.
Oh, that makes more sense.
And they accidentally posted screenshots from these latest 2 episodes about a day or 2 in advance.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So whoever runs the Instagram at Star Wars is probably sweating bullets. And this is about last week's episode, because we talked in Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order, if there was a grappling hook.
Yes.
One of our friends, this is the first comment I've heard from him in a while regarding the podcast, just texted us to message and correct me and say that there was no grappling hook. And I just thought that was hilarious.
Yep. Shout out to Caleb.
He was like, there is no zipline. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, I didn't know he had played.
I didn't either.
He's a bigger nerd than even I thought he was.
A secret nerd.
Yeah, he just out of nowhere, the day we posted the pod, texted us with a time code and said, there's no grappling hook.
It was like 9 minutes, 20 seconds. He's like, there's no grappling hook in the game. And I was like,
Took me a second to realize what the heck he was talking about. 'Cause he didn't even like mention. We weren't even talking about the podcast in the group chat.
No, it was like the first text in like a couple hours. It was super funny. Mm-hmm. I think that's all the news I had.
I got no news. I would love to just jump into.
Let's go.
We got the season finale. Hopefully not the series finale, but the season finale of season 2 of the Bad Batch with double episode. Season 2, episode 15 and 16. The first episode being The Summit. How does the episode start? I don't quite remember exactly how it started.
It starts it starts with them on the ship. I think they're still kind of discussing what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
And I thought theirs was really funny because they're like, well, this could be a trap.
Oh, no, they're on Pabu. That's what it is.
Yeah, so they're on Pabu in their ship. And Tech has a funny comment because they're like, well, do we go back? Like, what do we do? And Tech goes, we do not leave our own behind. And they're like, Crosshair is our brother. And I would just love for someone to cut immediately to them taking off on Camino, leaving Crosshair behind at the end of the first season. I would love to see an edit of that.
Yes, absolutely. What's my first note here? They decide that they, in order to figure out where Crosshair is, they figure out that there's going to be a meeting of some top Imperial officers. And
you could almost call it like a summit meeting.
Yeah. So they didn't call it a summit, but that's what I thought of. Yeah. The name of the episode is The Summit.
Everyone taking their private jets to talk about
in a Bond villain mountain. And they realize Hemlock, the lead scientist at the base where we know Crosshair is being kept. They know that Hemlock will be at that meeting, and they're going to try to get in there and place a tracking beacon on Hemlock's ship.
Yes.
Don't touch my laptop. How dare you?
I'm sorry. I'll slam it right here. I'll shut it right now. And then we have a scene where Phee kind of makes her move on Tech, and
so awkward. Like, I don't quite know how to put it. There are scenes in film and television that are meant to be awkward, but they are still awkward. Like, they're not like, I'm not saying like observing the situation is awkward, as in the scene, the way the scene is shot quote in quotes, it's animated.
The camera placement.
And written and voice acted is very awkward, even though it's meant to be awkward. Even like, and I'm blanking on her name. What was her name? Phee. I get Phee and the other lizard lady.
Sid.
So they're both one syllable names. I cannot keep their names straight.
Does this episode pass the Bechdel test?
Almost certainly does not. Phee is awkward too.
It does. No, the next episode does, technically.
Phee is supposed to be this smooth, charismatic con artist, and she is also very awkward. And it's not even. I'm going way too deep on this one. He didn't give her too much
to work with. If we're
they just like, if we're supposed to believe there's any sort of romantic feeling going, as obviously Phee feels romantic feelings about Tech, but if we're supposed to feel that Tech feels for her, I think it totally fails, because he is so cold and non-responsive to her that. It's not funny either. It could be like, there's so many things it could be. It could be funny. It could be like charmingly awkward. It could be romantic. It's none of those things. It's just awkward.
He was definitely like trying to avoid her.
Yeah. He doesn't come across to me as he has feelings for her and he's trying to avoid it. He just comes across as, I don't want to talk to you. Like he said, and the word she uses, friends. When friends,
she friend zoned him. That's what I said.
But even then, I don't feel like they're friends. Like they don't have any sort of relationship. They've had like 5 conversations on screen and not spent any time together. It's just very strange. But and I harp on this because there's something that happens later in this episode that has retroactively made us realize why they've been emphasizing a lot of Tech's character development. And I think his relationship and building relationship with Echo was pretty good. But if his relationship with Phee was supposed to make us care more about him as a character, I don't think it accomplished that whatsoever.
I don't think so either.
Anyways, they get on their ship and they have a mission. And this is some, I think, pretty useless action happens. That's not even worth describing.
You had a good quote that I thought was funny.
Yeah, okay. So summarize my thoughts on that scene between Phee and Tech, they're talking. They don't ever use any sort of direct romantic language. Like I said, she says friends. There is no sort of chemistry between them at all. It was like totally sterile. And I said, this show has the opposite relationship to sex as from the show Andor, because Andor is willing to be more adult about these sort of things and have like complex human relationships and love triangles and stuff, and this show is like isn't even willing to like show romantic entanglement, even though it clearly wants to have it. Anyways, I'm glad you liked that quote.
I wrote it down in my notebook.
Go ahead.
They
go to
Ariadu.
Thank you. Where the Imperial officers are meeting, and they sneak into the base.
Before that, though, there was a moment I did enjoy when they're trying to figure out how to get through on the monorail.
Oh, you did enjoy that. Okay.
Solely because I think Tech says we must be precise, and every single one of them slowly turns and looks at Wrecker.
Oh, I missed that. That's funny.
Man,
that's funny.
Really good, because they're talking about the timing and jumping on the monorail, and they're like, we have 30 seconds. We have to be precise. And it's just a silent moment, and they all turn around and look at him.
That's great. That's very funny. Oh, is there a small moment that's like a completion of his whole thing of being scared of heights? Because he says something like, "It's not a problem for me" or something.
That's what he was responding to.
I see.
He was responding to we have
them
to be
looking
precise,
at him.
And he was like, "What do you mean? Of course I'm precise." And that.
Okay, so I thought that was a reference to it being the monorail being very tall above the ground, and there's a whole running gag of him being afraid of heights. Anyways, we then cut in on the meeting with the Imperial officers. Yeah. And the most notable of which being there's a man who only talks once at the end of the meeting, but wears some very recognizable white outfit. And once he talks, it gave it away.
Is our boy Krennic,
the man who had commissioned the Death Star in Rogue One.
And we talk about Project Stardust.
Yeah, they briefly mentioned Project Stardust.
Can you imagine him trying to like sell that idea first? It's called Project Stardust. I feel like the other Imperial officers would have made fun of him for that kind of name. It's like naming it Glitter.
Oh man.
Project Glitter Bomb.
Yeah. It's a weird fan servicey moment. I think I would have rather him just not talked at all than them have that line of dialogue.
It was kind of interesting because he was supposed to be in Rebels.
Yeah, that would have been
season
great.
4, and they mention him. Because spoilers for Rebels season 4. There's a moment in season 4, or maybe it's 3, but either way, Thrawn is lamenting that he's got to fight for funding with his TIE fighter project against Krennic's top secret project. And I know I have the art book, and they fully modeled a Krennic character to put him in. I just don't think they had the time to really incorporate him, which is a bummer.
Well, that is what pretty much this meeting is about. It's pretty much a budget meeting. And it is interesting that this whole cloning project that Hemlock is doing is competing for budget with the Death Star. That is fascinating.
Can you imagine if thinking about it, I'm kind of surprised Thrawn wasn't there.
Yeah, Thrawn is
maybe
less of a planner. True. He's a war strategist.
True.
So he wouldn't be involved in a meeting like that.
I also don't think his project really came into light until like a couple years down the road.
Yeah.
Well, anyway.
So, and the other notable thing about that meeting is it just had really nice lighting, like the animation. Like I think my whole thing about the animation in like season 7 of Clone Wars and Bad Batch is, while the budget has obviously exponentially increased since the first season of Clone Wars, they are stuck in that style. Because it's all continuation of Clone Wars, they can't change the style very much. Yeah. So they're kind of limited in how much they can actually improve the animation. So they tend to put a lot of the money into improving the environments and the lighting and stuff. So while the characters, I would say, aren't the best designed characters, the lighting is immaculate. Like, this is very beautiful scene.
Immaculate.
And I think it's kind of, if I'm not reading too much into it, they're all kind of shrouded in darkness, but there's light like streaming in, almost as if they're doing these dark things in broad daylight. Because of the Empire, they're kind of sneaking around, not telling anyone, because they're talking about if the Senate figures out that they're holding clones against their will.
Yeah.
That would not be good. But they're still doing like they can kind of do whatever they want, pretty much.
Yep.
Whereas
They're
like
kind of untouchable.
the Separatists were kind of sneaking around, doing a lot of things. Everything Palpatine was doing, he was doing behind the scenes and sneaking around. There's really no sneaking around anymore. They're in broad daylight. I don't know if that was the intention of, but the lighting was very different in this sequence. So there may have been some artistic integrity there.
So we've got them going through the base, and I've noticed the Bad Batch was not using the stun on their guns. They were full on lethal rounds. Which,
per our obligatory every episode, I won't hesitate.
Yeah, I wonder if that's because they know they're not clones, so they're not afraid to shoot some random Joe off the street.
They are
but
done.
Not their brother. Omega was too.
Yeah, she is a little killer. I made a parallel between her and this year's breakout child character Megan, the robot child that just kills relentlessly. Speaking of relentless killers, Saw Gerrera shows up.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be really honest, because Hunter looks behind a pillar and finds a thermal detonator, and in half a second I'm thinking, who's around at this point that's blowing up Imperial stuff, and I almost said Saw, and I so wish I had.
I don't think he's listed on IMDb because I'm trying to figure out who voiced him, because it did not sound like
D. Bradley Baker.
No. I'm trying to think of Forrest Whitaker is who plays him in the movie, and often voices him. I know he voiced him in Rebels, but I'm not seeing him listed on IMDb here, so I'm not sure, because the voice performance was weird. Also, I'm guessing this, I don't remember Saw Gerrera and Bad Batch season 1, so I might be,
I believe
I don't want to.
Andrew Kishino, who voiced him in the Clone Wars, has also voiced him in Bad Batch.
Okay, well there you go. So this Saw Gerrera is more based off Clone Wars Saw Gerrera than Rebels and Rogue One. He does not age well, man, and we all know this, but like he looks way younger here, and this is only a couple of years, and well, I guess it's probably like 15 years.
He's in Jedi Fallen Order too.
Oh yeah, it's probably about 15 years until Rogue One. That was a jump scare for me. But it's only like 7 years until Rebels, approximately, like the beginning of Rebels, because Rebels is 15 years after
Star Wars.
15
years because Ezra is 15. So this is about a year, I think a year and a half, around, like no more than 2 years, but
I would guess 2.5 years so
years,
far.
Maybe.
Anyways, he ate, but you know what? That's this time period ages everyone. It ages Kenobi,
Tarkin.
Yeah, everyone ages real fast in this era. So
it's the spite. The Emperor.
Bail Organa gets real gray in this time period.
Grief Karga has been jumping a couple years between each one.
Yeah, but he's post episode 6. I'm talking about the period between 3 and 4.
You're right.
Anyways, so then we get some more shootouts, and they're just wanting to put a tracking device on Hemlock's ship, and Saw Gerrera just wants to blow everyone up, as is his brand. No survivors. And so they try to escape on a rail car, and things don't go so well for them.
Nope. And
they some ships are sent out.
Nope, we've skipped episodes.
No, the end of episode 15 is them on the rail car, and they get shot at, don't they? Oh, it stops.
It stops.
Okay, yes. Yep. So the episode ends with the power is cut out by the explosion. Now, I'm now realizing there was a weird element that was not resolved at all, which was the meeting of the Imperial officers at the top of this this base on top of a mountain at the summit, which is the name of the episode, and the explosion, as like they realize that there are people attacking the base, they lock it down, the explosion happens, and then we never cut back to that meeting. Like, Saw totally failed at his mission.
Not until really the next episode, when things have calmed down and they're starting orders.
Yeah, it feels like
I wonder if a scene got
a lot of build up for no payoff. Oh, like, we knew, I think it would have been maybe a little bit more suspense if Yeah, it's suspenseful. It would have been a lot more suspenseful if two characters we know are not going to die, like Tarkin and Krennic, were not there. If it was just him locking a bunch of other Imperial officers, we would maybe believe that they're actually going to die. But then, so when they survive, it'd be like, okay. But also, small note there, there's a character in here named Hurst Ramodi, and he is voiced. This character is from Rogue One. He's an Imperial. I believe he's an Imperial officer.
That's so cool.
Because there was an Imperial officer in that meeting that I thought I recognized the way he looked.
Yeah.
And so I believe he's one of Krennic's
goons,
inferiors. So that there's another character from the movies in that scene or in this episode. I would imagine it's one of the Imperial officers.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting.
My final question for episode 16: what is Omega's kill count?
Speaking of which, the top comment on the Reddit thread for this episode is "No mercy for stormtrooper scum. Pew pew pew."
It's pretty good. So you get to episode 16, which picks up immediately after.
Yes. So there's a pretty entertaining action sequence of them on this rail car shooting, killing all the stormtroopers in the rail car, killing all the stormtroopers in the other rail car. These ships, I don't know how to look up these ships.
I don't know what they are. They can be taken down with a pistol.
That I hated that. Hunter, with one shot, takes down one of them.
So how'd you lose your ship? Clone shot me down with his pistol.
I know that the bombers, Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Are they on your shirt?
Bomber. No, on my shirt is just the two basic ones, the TIE Fighter and the Millennium Falcon. In the original Battlefront 2, these ships were the bombers for the clones. Republic bomber. In the movies, you only see them once. Here, they're V-Wings. That's what they're called. They in the movies, the only time you see them is they are escorting Palpatine's ship to
that makes sense.
Mustafar. But these have been a very frequent in use in Bad Batch, and if you notice, all the sound design for them is the same as the TIE Fighters, which I thought was kind of a cool touch. So their shots derail part of the car that the Bad Batch is on, and thus causing Tech to fall and catch himself with a grappling hook. But if they don't unhook his part of the car, the rest of the Bad Batch will fall and die. So he sacrifices himself.
Yeah.
These moments are always weird for me because I'm always sitting there just waiting for it to be undercut and for a character to survive. So I have trouble feeling the actual emotions of the scene.
We didn't see him die on screen.
That is true. He is not dead on screen.
He fell into the clouds. Maybe he was only like 20 feet below that.
Oh man. If he shows up alive next season, I'm gonna be kind of mad. But
you can only do it so many times.
So as of right now, we believe he's dead. The Bad Batch think he's dead, which I'm always okay with. Like, I think it's totally fine to fake a death so that the characters can like have new. But it feels like it with how quickly the rest of the episode moves and the way that this final episode ends. So we are now talking about episode 15. I didn't catch 16. I didn't catch the title. Order 99 is what it's called, which is what
Tech says
right before he dies. So I guess Order 99 is like, let me die or something like that, or let me fall.
Leave me behind.
Yeah. So Tech dies. They all get in a big accident because they activate the rail car and it just smashes through a wall.
So, and I'm guessing because there were stormtroopers waiting at the other end for him, and that thing's coming in at like 60 miles an hour at least, and they jump out of the way, and so very much a car accident.
Rough. And so everyone's injured, and
POV, you're Omega.
Yeah, we get a POV shot of Omega.
There's not really too many first person shots.
No, that really caught me off guard. That was really interesting.
There's one in Rebels.
I don't remember the one in Rebels.
It is, I believe, the second to last episode of season 3, because we get a POV of Callus.
Oh, I do remember that. Yes.
When I saw that, I was like, well, first person.
POV, you are the man you love. And so then they just wake up, and we see it.
So it must have killed those stormtroopers.
Yeah. They wake up with a familiar droid. AZ is his name,
Yeah, AZ.
which means we're back with Sid, which is the worst possible outcome for these guys for so many reasons.
The worst timeline.
Even if she didn't end up selling them out, it would be just awful. Why? They've already screwed her over. They've already burned that bridge. I know they're limited, but this is the same thing with the Mandalorian.
Could they not have gone to Pabu?
It was probably too far away. They probably didn't want to lead the Empire back there. But just like the same thing with the Mandalorian, there's so many things you could do, and they keep going back to the same stupid characters. Like, seriously, you can't
Stockholm Syndrome.
Surely you could, yeah, Stockholm Syndrome, yeah. You could just drop in on a random planet. Like, I just feel like there could
Please, my son.
especially like someone you don't know could be better than Sid, who you know is going to sell you out.
If I was a medic in the Star Wars universe and I saw a bunch of people that showed up like clones, you know what I'd do? I mind my business. I'd help them and their child out. Mind my business.
Yeah, I feel like these guys should have maybe spent their time. I know it's the plot, but like it just is not believable to me that these in this massive universe they keep going back to, because like in the real world you would be limited on transportation.
I mean, yeah. And I mean, I'm going to be honest. If I stood someone up that I was working for and she made an open threat to me
exactly.
that she was going to sell me out, I wouldn't want to go back.
Now, I think a minor tweak that maybe could have fixed this was when we saw the hologram from her a few episodes back. If she had lied and been like, I'm worried about you guys, come find me anytime, and they were weary of that, but in this situation they chose to just believe her, that would have made more sense. But because she openly threatened them last time we saw her on video chat or hologram.
Snapchat.
So she sells them out. The clone commandos show up.
Not the Empire.
And there's just like at any given time in the next 5 minutes, every character is captured and not captured, and it's not very entertaining in my opinion. It's kind of rote and predictable.
One of a good quote you said, so the Empire shows up, and you just said shocked Pikachu face.
Yeah. Just like as soon as I saw the droid, I was like, Sid's gonna sell him out. Like that's just so predictable. We knew this was gonna happen for a while. I just didn't think they would allow it to happen.
Yeah. I was expecting it to happen on Pabu.
But before they get sold out, Hunter talks to Omega about retiring to Pabu. So they're like, Tech's dead. We have no idea how to get and rescue Crosshair. We're just gonna call it a good game and retire.
We gotta go. We gotta do something to keep
Which is
her safe.
Good call. Good plan. Doesn't pan out, unfortunately.
It was interesting because I was very curious where that conversation was going, because Hunter was like, is that what you want, Omega? Mm-hmm. And I was expecting her to go, I don't know, like guns blazing on the Empire.
Yeah, that's interesting. So there's a fight. There's Echo steals a walker.
I will say, before we move on to that, when Hunter and Wrecker are being captured, Hemlock does have a quote I found really funny.
Okay.
So he shows up, Wrecker is not looking too hot. He's surrounded by like 6 commandos, and Hunter shows up ready to fight. Mm-hmm. And Dr. Hemlock just says, you don't have to use your enhanced senses to know you're outnumbered. And I was like,
got him.
It's really it was just,
I don't know what kind of math they teach you on Camino, but as you can tell, 8 is greater than 1.
It's just really funny to me.
Yeah.
I will say, if Omega could have done it, she should have just sniped Hemlock from her vent. I think she could. I don't know.
But then they would have killed Hunter, though.
Maybe.
I mean, they had a gun to his head. They were threatening to kill him already.
And Wrecker.
They didn't know that Omega was in there, but and in that scene, they throw some goggles. Tech's goggles. So that's all right. That's supposed to be a confirmation that he's dead. But also, to me, you said earlier that we didn't see his body. Maybe realize that could totally be a misdirect, and that means they have his body, and he might be alive.
Yeah. Like, if he's not dead.
If he's alive next season, I feel like that would render pretty much this whole season almost worthless. Outside of, ironically, the 2 Crosshair episodes, which actually did accomplish a lot. I would say in this season, there were really only 3 episodes that accomplished. Out of 16 episodes, there were only 3 episodes that accomplished anything. The 2 Crosshair episodes and...
the worst timeline.
Yeah, and the episode where they were on Coruscant and got all the clones fired.
I think that's a 2-parter.
Okay, so that's 4 episodes. Still, that's not a good ratio. That's only 25% of the season, and the Bad Batch are not in half of that. So, not a great ratio, unfortunately. I think like what happened in this episode should have happened like halfway through the season.
I also agree.
Like this is my issue with television. It just is designed to get stretched out, but this narrative is not strong enough to sustain this long of stretching out. Like we should not be waiting this long to get like at this rate. I don't know if we're going to see the actual clone uprising until we thought we would see the clone uprising in season 1.
That's what I was expecting. Well, yeah,
and we're not going to see it until at best the end of season 3. So to wrap up the discussion of this episode, they don't get a tracker on Hemlock's ship.
We will say Echo and Gonki versus the world.
Yeah. Oh, that was fun. That was kind of fun. Them stealing a very uniquely designed chicken walker.
I will say I thought of something because the chicken walker comes around and they're Wrecker and Hunter are like, Echo? Gotta be Echo. And my thought was, just imagine it's BB-8.
Yeah, like in Last Jedi. And
what a cameo.
The clones and Hemlock escape with Omega, and our other 3 remaining Bad Batch escape in their ship, and
they're devastated.
Yeah, and they're like, Hunter's like, we're gonna find Omega no matter what. And
they're going to kill everyone.
It cuts to the Imperial base where they have Omega, and she meets the female Imperial scientist that we've seen sprinkled throughout the season. Mm-hmm. And I found her New Zealand accent very suspicious the whole season. And she, Omega's like, I don't even know you. And she kneels down and she says, you should. I'm your sister. So, cut to black.
Which is interesting, first of all, because there are multiple Omega clones, or maybe she's lying. That could be it too. But she did sound like her and looks just a little bit like her. I saw someone on TikTok say that this just last week, like, what if Emery is an Omega clone? I'm sure they're probably like flipping out right now. Like, I got it. My thought is...
Well, but it'd be the other way around. Omega would be a clone of her. Yes. But they're technically both clones of Jango Fett with a female.
Here's my question, because they talked about Omega's name is Omega because she was the other unaltered clone in the first season. Do you remember them talking about that? Where Alpha is Boba.
Oh, interesting.
So I don't know if maybe that was just a reveal of she was a clone, but I took it to say that because she seems to be aging a little normally.
Yeah, I would think she's just been around longer. But I don't know. I guess there's
I took it
as find out.
I took it as they gave Jango his choice of whatever kids he wanted to adopt. And
so Omega is more of a pure clone.
That's what I was thinking.
We also, I think there was some hypothetical speculation early in season 1 that Omega was force sensitive. Yeah. That she exhibited some traits that made it seem like the original assumption was she's
a failed Palpatine clone.
Well, not necessarily a failed Palpatine clone, but is she part of the attempt to make a force sensitive clone? Yeah. Period. And we don't fully know what Hemlock's plan is, what he wants. We just know that he wants cloning technology, but we don't know exactly what he wants to use it for. So I joked that he wants to make a clone army of Crosshair, the worst beings in the universe.
And we see Omega see Crosshair. Mm-hmm. So here's my prediction for the next season. Next season it's just going to be Crosshair and Omega escaping and road tripping across the galaxy for the entire season, and they have an American Tail moment where they're trying to
You're gonna say
find
that?
the rest of the Bad Batch, and they keep showing up on the same
hate
planets
that.
and just missing each other.
Yeah. So I kind of alluded to it recently, earlier in the episode, but pretty much I was thinking that we don't see the clone uprising until the end of next season, because this conclusion sets up the basic plot for next season, which is
Find Omega.
Which that feels like something, the way this show is written, that seems like something that will take multiple episodes. It's not going to be resolved in the first episode unless it's resolved in between seasons, like Grogu and Mandalorian.
What show comes out next that they can...
Or just do it in like a mobile app or something.
Oh, gosh. They're going to do it in a Fortnite release like they did with Palpatine's Return.
They're gonna do it like there's infamously a element of the new Halo trilogy was resolved in a coloring book.
So, before we move on, overall season thoughts?
That's fine. It's whatever.
That's where I'm at. And I don't know. I don't want to say my expectations were too high for this season, but based on what they had been alluding to last season, I was just expecting more. I really feel like all the things that we should have seen should have been the halfway point.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think there are a lot of episodes that just they didn't land the way they were supposed to. I think they were supposed to, they're like supposed to draw the batch together, kind of draw out their personalities, and I just don't really think it worked. I think I enjoyed the first 2 episodes. I think if I had to like redo it, I would have kept 1, 2, and 3. I would have removed the racing episode with Tech.
100%.
I don't even remember what the 5th episode is.
Yeah.
Is that the episode where they find? I don't know. I would have kept 7 and 8 for sure. I think the episode where they're trapped in the mine could have maybe been 1.
Absolutely. Yeah. The whole like 3 or 4 episode arc where they were caught on that planet with the mines and the children and that. Oh, you could just taken all of that out. It's totally unnecessary.
That was, and the one where they went and found those random giant robot monsters that we never saw again was 5.
Yep. Yeah, that never came back. Yeah, that was really arbitrary. That feels like something maybe they were setting up some lore for like Jedi Survivor or something.
Yeah. Oh, so I would have kept 1, 2, 3. And 6, which is where we see
the Chewbacca or the Wookiee Jedi.
Yes, whose name
Joji, Jonji, Goji, Gungi.
7 and 8, of course, which is the Coruscant episodes. The ones where they were in the mine and kind of saved the Oliver Twist one.
Cut it out.
Could have been 1, or at least just do the mine one. I did enjoy the one where they found the Zillo beast.
Yeah, but ultimately, like, what's the point of that?
It ties up a plot line from back in Clone Wars season 4, and that does show. I mean, it's a callback, but Palpatine kept it at the end of season 4 to talk up so they could clone it. There's that. I would have kept the Outpost with Crosshair. I don't think an episode on like 1 episode for Pabu would have been bad. At least if it had been used as like an escape from Sid. And then
it feels like we waited so long for this season, 1.5 years, for very little to actually happen.
And I don't like to be the person that's like, oh, filler episodes, because like there's a difference between pacing and filler. But I think there was just, it's like they tried to pace it out and they tried to put in character development, and it was just kind of along the lines of like,
And there's so many Star Wars shows coming out. There's The Acolyte, there's The Skeleton Crew, there's Ahsoka, there's going to be more Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Presumably, they're probably going to want to spin off some characters from Ahsoka if it goes well.
Oh boy, I hope so.
We don't need more. So there's no reason to stretch out Bad Batch. Like, I understand, like, when Clone Wars came out, that was the only Star Wars thing that existed. Like, mainline. That was Star Wars.
Gonna stretch out Bad Batch to fill up the 14 years until Rebels.
I hope not. Anyway, so that I think concludes our thoughts.
It was fine.
It is. I'm not really to know. It's kind of a special moment though, because that was the start of this podcast. We started with episode 1, and now we're through our first show as a podcast. So that is kind of fun.
There was, and you know what? There were some great episodes.
It was a fun journey
really overall, ones. And we get that in every show. Mm-hmm. There are some great, except Andor. Andor is perfect.
Yeah, Andor is phenomenal. We'll see if this podcast continues until the next Mandalorian comes out, or the next Bad Batch comes out in 3 years.
Gosh.
But in the meantime,
maybe it took so long because they just went and made the 3rd season.
Yeah. Well, I doubt it, but it's possible. Well, have they even officially announced if there's going to be a 3rd season? That would suck.
Not yet. Oh my gosh, can you imagine if they just stop it now?
That'd be awful.
It's up to the fanfic writers to save us.
This podcast is gonna have to cover fan fiction. Oh.
No, we're not. No, we're not doing that.
Okay, so on to this week's episode of The Mandalorian.
Season 5. Oh, no,
Season 3, Episode 5, entitled The Pirate. And unfortunately, it's not about everyone. It is not about everyone's favorite Star Wars pirate. Man, I can't talk today.
We did see the title card, and the first words out of my mouth were, Fee's back.
Or, that's everyone's least favorite pirate. Least favorite character. Everyone's favorite pirate.
Hondo Ohnaka.
He smells profits, but unfortunately not in this episode. Unless things go really horrible for him and he became discount Davy Jones.
They did him. I'm not gonna lie, they did him dirty in Rebels. I love Rebels, but I'm just like, man.
Yeah, some of their character designs are not the best. Anyways, we are talking about the pirate.
We get a Grief Karga solo episode.
Yeah, I was really scared. So far this season, especially like the last episode. Was it the last episode? No, 2 episodes ago.
The 3rd episode was Pershing.
Yeah.
Which I did love that one.
But I was really worried this episode was going to be just about the Grief Karga and or the Republic Rangers.
Oh yeah.
Thankfully, it did actually include the Mandalorian, though he's also not super present in it. I think it was somewhat of a mistake to keep him in his spaceship the whole time. We'll talk about it in a minute, but
so we get to see. So the pirates come back to Navarro and start blowing it up, and Grief Karga's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to call the Republic, the New Republic," and he sends it to. I can't remember his name. I keep thinking Trapper Wolf, but that's Dave Filoni.
Yeah, Carson Teva.
Yes.
Carson's a rather ordinary name for a Star Wars character.
Remember our Rebels watch through. Imagine being named Caleb.
Yeah.
Sorry to the Calebs we know. We didn't realize it till after we said
it. And no shade to people named Carson in real life. It just is not the kind of name I would expect to see in Star Wars.
So yeah, he submits a call, and we get to see like a fun little like naval base on an island somewhere. And so we get introduced to Carson, and
so to slow down just a little bit to build up to this. Grief Karga sends out his communication, his plea for help to the Republic, and Carson is at a bar and he's watching it, and a familiar figure walks up and starts talking to him about this, and as soon as he shows up blurry in the background, both of us knew exactly who this gentleman was. What kind of species is he?
A Lassant.
A Lassant. Everyone's favorite Lassant from the Star Rebels. The Star Wars show Rebels. Zeb.
Aurelius. Our boy. Well, one of the boys.
He's one of the main characters of Star Wars Rebels. If you don't know, I feel like one reason Rebels is amazing is that everyone loves the core crew. There's not like, if you watched Rebels, I think you probably like all of those characters. And
he had to grow on me at first, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, the entire show has to. Like the show does not, like once you get into the rhythm of the show, the main crew are such good characters.
Would you like to see my notes?
Yes.
From that? So I am thrilled.
Holy F, Zeb. What was your next note?
I didn't type it
Where
very well.
the hell is Callus?
Where is he? My favorite. But anyways, I am stoked because he looked great. I think that's one of the things that the concept art is a little because Zeb, the Lasat race, are based off of the original Chewbacca concept art.
Yes.
And so in the concept art, they look a little They're a little scary.
You can't look at his eyes for too long in Rebels because they're pretty much just green olives.
Yeah.
With little dots.
Yeah.
And he looks phenomenal in this CGI. Good. It's live action, but it's CGI.
They put so much work.
It's the original voice actor.
Yes.
Steve Blum?
Yes.
Is that his
Steve
name?
Blum.
Sounds great.
I know exactly what everything else that he's in.
Man, it is. Is he Transformer?
Yeah, he's plays Starscream in Transformers Prime.
Oh my gosh. We get a surprise Transformer voice actor in a live action show.
It was a surprise to me. He's in a lot of stuff too. Like he's got the whole 9 yards if you look him up on IMDb.
Transformers Prime, he was Starscream. In the 2008 cartoon Wolverine and the X-Men, he played Wolverine. He's the voice of Spike in Cowboy Bebop. Does that not mean anything to you?
I know what Cowboy Bebop is.
Yeah, but he's the main character.
Yes, I know what that is.
Oh, okay. You didn't, or at least in the movie. Is he in the show? Type furiously. Yes, he's the voice. He's the English language voice of Spike. That's cool. I did not know that. So that doesn't ultimately lead anywhere. It's just a little cameo.
It could be a lead to Ahsoka though.
Oh, absolutely. In this single episode, we don't see him again.
Dave
unfortunately,
like, you know whose favorite character is coming back? Mine, Ahsoka. I'm just saying, where's Callus?
Yeah. So Callus is the Imperial officer turned good guy in Rebels, and him and Zeb became friends. And
depends on who you ask.
So you as soon as the scene ended, you went, "Where's Callus?" This is important to Rachel because Callus is one of her favorite characters, and I just pointed at Zeb and I went, "Where's your boyfriend?"
Where is he? You know when Batman's like, "Where's Rachel?" Me with Dave Filoni asking where Callus is. Where is he? Here's a fear that I thought before we started podcasting. If we see Callus in the reintegration camps, I'm going to cry.
Oh, wow. Man, that's interesting. I guess since he was already a rebel.
I don't know, man.
It's possible, though.
They could have been like, wow, you did such a good job during the war, but now we have regulations, so into jail you go. Actually, no, he doesn't, because we see him canonically go to the Lasat planet at the Rebel Season 4 spoilers. Like canonically go to the Lasat planet. So maybe he's just there. He's vibing.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm not going to come back to the New Republic or I'll go to jail.
So our Republic Ranger friend Carson, he goes to Coruscant and meets with Tim Meadows. Character's name is Colonel Tuttle. Tim Meadows is most famous for having been on Saturday Night Live, I believe. Yeah, he was on Saturday Night Live in like the 80s. And also there is everyone's favorite new character from episode 3 of The Mandalorian. Elia.
Played by Katie M. O'Brien.
Elia Kane. She is a ex-Imperial who is clearly still Imperial.
And who worked for Moff Gideon.
Is clearly now working as a spy for whatever Imperial remnant she reports to and is sabotaging the New Republic. And she pretty much sabotages Carson's attempts to get help.
Because she's like, oh, they're not a part of the New Republic yet, so maybe they just need to learn that this is what happens. And I was like, wow, you're good at playing a bad guy.
So then Carson goes to the next group of people he knows could help Greef Karga, the Mandalorians, and is able to find them because the Mando's new astromech that he got at the beginning of the season, R5, was a rebel astromech.
He was like, my friend told me you were here.
I thought one of the Mandalorians was going to have been a rebel, is what he meant.
Yeah, that would have been really cool. I mean, if they put on the helmet and they go the way, they could do whatever they want.
And so Carson's pretty much able to convince Mando that he owes Karga the help and the people of, what's the name of the planet again? I keep forgetting. Navarro.
Oh, sorry, you go.
And then they have a powwow with all the Mandalorians, and it was funny. The armorer is talking. No, Mando's talking. And then he hands the armorer one of her hammers. So I assume that was kind of a gesture of, equip up, it's time to fight. But I made the joke, is that the talking stick? And then she gives the hammer to Vizsla and he starts talking. I was like, it is a talking stick.
Like the Mandalorian convent. I don't know. Covert, I guess. I don't know. It's like giant kindergartners. They have a talking stick. One thing I wanted to go back to real quick was like a lot of what they're putting together in Mandalorian season 3 is really going to support how everyone was confused by how Palpatine came back. I mean, we're seeing this in Bad Batch too. We're seeing all the cloning stuff that's been super top secret. I mean, granted, we've seen how the Empire's kept things top secret. They built a whole planet destroyer twice, 3 times before anyone realized. And so this is something I know about from Bloodlines, the book that is put after Return of the Jedi, and it's about spoilers for the Bloodlines book if you care. And this is Leia joining the New Republic as a senator. And there's a lot of interesting stuff in that book. There's a smear campaign against her because they find out Vader's her dad. And, kind of like, understandably, people don't love that. But so Leia was against the rapid demilitarization of the New Republic, which is what they're doing right now. They're getting rid of everything. They're like, the war's over. We don't need anything. And like, I mean, we're seeing a government kind of going, not wanting to be a war government like the last one. So like, well, we don't want to be it, but in a way they're leaving themselves entirely undefended.
Yeah. I mean, when there's pirates running around like this gentleman that they fight in this episode, what is his name again? I can't find it here. Yeah, Gorian Shard, which is a cool name, by the way. That's a pretty good name.
Got some cool names in this show.
Yeah. When there's pirates flying around with ships like that, you can't just just like get rid of all your stuff.
Yeah.
Who's gonna you're just gonna expect them just to go away or just gonna abandon the Outer Rim?
Yes.
It's a terrible idea.
So it's interesting. I had a comment when Tiva shows up to the covert. I was like, they're gonna kill him. He took off his helmet. But so we go back to the campfire with the Mandos. And I was not expecting to see Paz side with Din and Bo.
Yeah. He's building up his argument like, why should we fight another fight? Why should we put our lives down? And there's a pause. He's like, because we're Mandalorians. And I was
that was really
yay! Good. Like, because I was sitting there like wondering like, you guys, this is your whole thing. Yeah. Your whole thing is fighting, and then he turns it around. I thought that was actually a legitimately like surprising turnaround. That
he was like, they saved my son when we all gave up. And I was like,
and everyone like very cartoonishly like hangs their head when he says that.
We were like,
and so they gear up and they go to war. And
so we shall go to war.
Very nice Pirates of the Caribbean reference.
3, first of all.
Yes.
Put some respect.
I wasn't
on it. World's End.
I was just saying the series, not the specific film.
It's too many pirate jokes we're gonna make tonight.
Yeah. And I just kept saying bloody pirates the whole thing. Then there's just pretty much the rest of the episode just kind of a big fight from then on, really.
There's a pirate that has like a warthog head. And you just go, is that Pumbaa?
Is that Pumbaa?
We made a Corsair versus Crosshair joke.
Yeah, the name of the ship is a Corsair.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we said, is that named after the legendary Crosshair? Another conniving, horrible creature.
We did get to see the return of the Anzellans.
Yeah, I was so afraid they were going to get hurt. I'm really glad they didn't. I don't know if I could take it.
I'm also very glad that they weren't hurt because it was cute watching them because they were sitting at their window like, oh no. I wonder if they're thinking, how long is it going to take them to realize that we're here? They're very adorable.
I really enjoyed the tactical Mandalorians. They dropped down and they were using like technical talk with each other and they were being very stealthy and
they've been waiting for something like this for a while.
And I think it just felt like I do feel people's kind of hesitation to Mando kind of getting sidelined in his own show, like Boba Fett.
Yeah, I know. Fett.
But in this episode especially, he was doing stuff. He was in, but I just feel like him being in his own ship the whole time kind of made it feel like he wasn't really active in the battle. I think it would have been.
They need to put an S at the end of the title card. The Mandalorians.
Yeah. But overall, it's a beautifully shot scene. Actually, I forgot to check. The director of this episode is most known for being one of the co-directors on I almost said Steven Universe. No, definitely not. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes. So like you said, like great fight. I really like, I don't know. I was like, wow, this is, really great fight. And we kind of see a moment where, the Mandalorians are pinned down. And actually for a moment, it's like, ooh, are we going to lose any? And with the pretty big artillery gun that they put on Grief Karga's balcony. And then the armor shows up and just goes ham. And hand-to-hand contact. She goes, Ken B from Obi-Wan. With the hammer and just decimates these people with her like little pinchers and hammer and just takes them out. It's pretty cool. So, I mean, the fight's almost kind of over. I will say, I don't think it was super smart of the townspeople to return that suit.
Yeah, they put themselves in real danger.
Yeah, but
it's a happy ending. They take down the pirate ship, and it very easily could have wiped out the rest of that town.
It conveniently lands in the ditch outside or whatever. Hey, at least I have supplies to scavenge.
And then they are welcomed, but with our friend is calling her right now. I don't know why. You can call him back later, right?
Yeah, that's weird.
Let's put him on the pod. If it was a different friend, I would probably answer it and make him talk on the pod, but I think not.
Well, missed call. I'll call him later.
So, they are welcomed. The people of the city welcome the Mandalorians with welcome arms with open arms to come and live there. And we kind of had a good laugh. The armor immediately goes down into back to the sewers. But that's because that's where her forge is, and she has a talk with
Bo
Katan and tells her to remove her helmet and says.
And Bo hesitates. She's like, I know this trick.
I'm just not fitting in. Don't make me a weirdo again. But the armor is like, you've shown that you walked away, but we need all the Mandalorians to be together again, and you walk in both worlds, and so you're going to lead us. And so my name is the Armor, and I support this message.
She changed her tune really fast because she's like, I only heard of the Armor in Legends, and you've seen it.
Only heard of the the Armor only is in Legend. She wasn't there the whole time. She was a ghost.
The Armor said the
mythosaur.
That's good. But yeah, so she takes off her helmet. Once again, the Armor is monologuing at her forge. If she goes too long, we might get another Order 66 scene. But she makes a comment that you had a really funny response to of the air rang with the blows of 100 hammers, and like talking about the Great Forge at Mandalorian. You just quip, sounds awful.
Look, I grew up with a little brother who was a drummer, and indoor percussion kind of drives me insane. I'm getting a shocked look from my friend Rachel because she too is a drummer.
I can't believe we're friends, gosh. So, anyways, I'm going to willfully go past that. So the Armor has cast her vote to Bo to bring them all together again. So here we get Bo-Katan getting her second chance. So they come out and everyone's like, "Whoa!" She took her helmet off.
She's got the scarlet letter on her chest or something.
Yeah. So even the Armor gives her a seal of approval. She's like, nope, she's going to bring back everyone. We have to be all together again. So I wonder if Mando, Din getting them this home made the Armor like
lighten up a bit.
Yeah. So they're going to go retake Mandalore. And I thought that was the end. And we get another scene.
Yeah, so our friend Carson is flying in space, and he finds a wrecked ship, an Imperial ship.
This was a creepy scene.
It felt like something. I said to you, space zombies.
I just felt out of like Alien.
Yeah, it felt like something evil was going to happen, but it was just more going to be a very dramatic reveal of some new information. He sends a little droid, so his astrojet sends a probe, which is kind of a funny detail. It's the same thing that R2-D2 uses when he falls into the swamp in Dagobah in episode 5. He like has this like periscope that shoots up. Is the exact same thing, but it like shoots out of the astromech's head and is like a probe, which was kind of funny.
Yeah.
And it investigates inside and finds all the dead dead
Republic troopers.
Yes.
And we find out whose ship it is.
It was transporting Moff Gideon
to trial.
And it's very clear that someone broke him out. And he's like, who could have done this? And there's some Beskar shards in there. And
they're
so
like, the Mandalorians?
We know what the other Mandalorians have been doing. They've teamed up with the Imperial Remnant.
See, my first thought was that it was a frame job.
It could be.
But
my assumption would be that it's
residual.
Because we've been told multiple times this season that the other Mandalorians have become mercenaries.
Well, and we did see in Rebels that there were Mandalorians that teamed up with them.
Yeah.
So there could be a third Vizsla brother.
So it would seem as though they're queuing up for the rest of the season there to be a battle between our main Mando enclave and the rest of the Mandalorians. Is going to be Mando on Mando violence.
Now, here's my other question. Where is Sabine?
Good question.
She's going to be in Ahsoka.
Yeah. Where's this? What's Ahsoka doing?
Where is she?
There's going to be an interesting build up to
Is this going to go?
Ahsoka,
is Mandalorian going to go like straight into Ahsoka?
I hope so.
Me too. Actually,
forward
no.
to it.
I think Ahsoka technically happens much quicker after Return of the Jedi.
I think Ahsoka is going to be more similar to Kenobi in the sense that it
True.
has like lots of different flashbacks. It's going to like show lots of different timelines. I think, or not timelines, but different periods.
I saw a comment about that we can talk about later.
So overall, fun episode. Gave us lots of good information, good action,
Good fun.
It's mostly a Mandalorians episode than a Mandalorian episode. Grogu barely relevant in this episode, but
he shows up to get roasted by Paz.
yeah.
We sacrificed Mandalorians for this youngling, and Grogu's like, "Ooh, that's me."
Transition into everyone's favorite segment, Meme Minute, but it's longer than a minute. It's a meme parsec. It's a meme astrosecond. It didn't click correctly. Just a second. Sorry.
I'll be back later.
Hey, where are you two going?
It's Wednesday.
Love this meme. Love this meme. I saw it originally as an image, and you in the image version you get Elastigirl in that saying, "Oh right, Mandalorian night." I just thought that was really relevant and relatable. What memes you got for us this week, Rachel?
So someone wrote a joke that Bo-Katan was so openly accepted into the Children Who Watch because she's the... I don't know if you just heard my stomach make that noise. That was rough. She's the only one with a car. So
she's got a minivan for everyone to jump into.
I'm going to play this.
Now, I gotta say, I think the Children of the Watch's acceptance of Bo-Katan is genuine. It very much seems the case that if you walk the way, you are welcome. However, I desperately want to believe that the only reason they're letting Bo-Katan in is because she is the only one with a car. I mean, sure, Din has his little one-seater sports car, but Bo has got the minivan they have been waiting for. She is taking the whole coverage to McDonald's. Bo is not saying this is the way because she believes. She is saying this is the way because she is the only one with a license and she will not accept any backseat drivers. Why else was she the only one to think about getting a ship to chase this thing? Now, I gotta say,
Very good.
I just thought that was really funny.
We're giving you freedom.
So there's a clip from Transformers 4 that the way it's edited is hilarious. He's fighting with the they're not dinosaur cons. What are they called? Dinocon. Dinobots? Dinobots?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're giving you freedom.
Love that. Love that edit. That really encapsulates Bayformer's Optimus Prime.
So this is a comparison someone made from last episode of Paz Vizsla.
oh, this motherfucker look like low-key? Look!
Oh my gosh. So it's a clip of Paz Vizsla.
When he infamously looked up the cliff face last episode, had to tilt his entire body back. and then it immediately moves to a clip of Michael Keaton's Batman, who, due to the neck piece, had to do the same.
Great comparison. Hilarious. These are just Instagram links that I have. I don't remember what they are, so we're going in blind.
My son don't have ADD. He just like to jump.
It's from an SNL skit.
Yeah, so that's Pedro Pascal himself, the Mandalorian, from an SNL skit, but behind him is footage of Grogu.
He just like
That's a great use of that clip. Love that.
So this says, by far the best description of Mandalorians in Star Wars lore. It starts with Bo-Katan and Ezra from Rebels.
A Mandalorian with a jetpack is a weapon.
I'm out of fuel.
It's just the cut of a Mandalorian with a jetpack is a weapon to Paz Vizsla just landing after chasing his son. Going, I'm out of fuel. I don't know. It's just...
Oh, I love it. This is a purely visual meme, but I love visual memes. Just want to get Rachel's reaction live on mic.
Is that a house?
So
That's got to be intentional.
it's a photograph of a mobile home, but it looks a bit like a sand crawler. And if someone has expertly photoshopped a Jawa head onto Leonardo DiCaprio pointing at the screen. And I just think it's hilarious.
Oh man. So I got this one says Grogu getting all the fancy pure Beskar while the other kids get the $20 costume from Walmart.
Oh, I almost sent that to you. That kid's armor just in that single frame, the way he's standing looks it's what is his name? Ragnar?
That's not Ragnar, that's a different, it's just some random non-named kid. I saw this on TikTok about tonight's episodes. First we got to see a live action Zeb drop, then we got to see Tech drop.
Oh no.
Yikes.
Poor Tech.
Rip. Rest in peace.
Let's see what this is.
I've probably done more sword fights on celluloid than any actor in history, I should think. And
This
I've
is
got the
Christopher
scars
Lee.
to prove it. And this fight
played
is
Dooku.
greater than anything I've ever been involved in. You notice the phrase I use, I've ever been involved in, because I don't do all that much of it. I physically can't. My hands and my arms will move very fast, my legs won't, not anymore. Most of it is done by my stunt double, who is absolutely superb. But I understand that when you see his face, mine is superimposed. So it will look as if I, the actor Christopher Lee, is involved in one of the greatest fights ever seen on the screen. I've probably done more.
Christopher Lee describing how movies work made me so happy. The way he says, my stunt double. And
My stunt double.
as I understand it, they will put my face, they will superimpose my face on his body. So it will be me. It seemed like me, the actor of Christopher Lloyd. Just like he's talking in such a way as if he comes from an era where you had to explain what a movie was to people. And he's still stuck in that era in his head. I think he still thinks the common man doesn't know how movies work. So rip in peace. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace and peace.
Rest in peace, Christopher Lee. We love you. We miss you. You were a treasure.
Oh.
On celluloid.
I'm looking on Reddit. Phee, so you were just going to leave without saying goodbye. Tech, that is correct.
Very straightforward. Earlier today, we had a conversation about how people on the spectrum are very blunt. That is Tech to a T. This is my last meme for the week.
That's what that's what the clone has with his Twi'lek family. The farmer.
So what I've just shown, Rachel, is a Lego ATTE walker, the Clone Wars walker, but it is entirely made out of John Deere Legos. So it is green with John Deere tractor logos around it, and it is hysterical to me.
I think this is the last thing I got. I didn't have too many. Someone also on Bad Batch or on Reddit. It's okay, guys. Tech survived. His voice actor is slated to return in season 3.
Oh my gosh. Classic D. Bradley
Classic
jokes.
D. Bradley
Absolutely
Baker.
classic.
Wait, what was the... Oh, man, we made a joke that he voiced someone, and I can't remember who it was. Oh, man.
It was probably Saw Gerrera, right? Yeah. Like, I was trying to figure out who Saw Gerrera, who played Saw Gerrera in this episode, and it's like, it's just probably D. Bradley. We'll just throw... What's another one?
That's another one. I mean, we got rid of Tech, so he can he's got some more
He's got some time.
He's got some time.
Well, that brings us to the end of this week's episode, I believe.
3 episodes.
Thank you so much for sticking with us through 3 months of this podcast. We're at the end of March now.
Wow.
As always, thank you to Caleb Jacoby for our intro and outro music. Props to Rachel for our artwork. Props to me.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're going to do it for me?
I was going to do
kind.
it for you. Okay. Props. Not as funny now. Props to Cameron for editing all of this and letting me borrow your headphones this week.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention at the top of the episode, we are back in my house for the first time since...
Supervisor's not here.
Yeah, we don't have Athena, though. Funny joke. So Athena is a black cat who oftentimes curls up and sleeps next to the TV. And I had a jacket wrapped up in a chair next to the TV, and Rachel just pointed and goes, "That looks like Athena."
It did.
Out of the corner of my eye, I totally got it.
I kept seeing her in my mind's eye. I kept like seeing it out of the corner of my eye. And I was like, "That's my cat. What's she doing here?"
That was great. I changed location to the last second because I'm on some heavy pain medication. I'm getting the implant for a new tooth put in, and Rachel made a great Star Wars joke at my expense, as in, I didn't know you worked for the Empire, because we had 2 Imperials this season on Bad Batch kill themselves with electronic crunchy spicy teeth.
Tic Tacs.
Jump on our Twitter. Rachel runs our Twitter. She does a great job. We're also on Facebook. I run the Facebook.
You can see very different energies in how we run it.
Yes, absolutely. Leave us a review. I'll read it out on the pod. Send us a message on Facebook or Twitter.
Send us some memes.
Send us something, and we'll call it out on the pod. We'll give you a shout out. And so this is Cameron and Rachel signing off, saying, "Zeb, where's your boyfriend?"
Where is he?